What's up, fam, and welcome to episode 13 of the Anime Society podcast. I am Jonah, and as always with me is my partner in crime and best friend, Hunter. Say what's up, Hunter.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Thank you for tuning in.
Big shout out to everybody who has participated in the content creator Q&As of past. We really appreciate you guys' involvement with us. They've been a lot of fun to do. And as always, thank you to everyone who has been following the Anime Society and been liking our videos, subscribing to the channel, promoting it to your friends. We really appreciate you guys. And without further ado, let's get into the content. Today we've got a fun episode, and this is one that we decided to do in light of the new summer 2020 anime season. Today we are going to be reviewing the first episode of The God of Highschool. One of the reasons why we wanted to do this was I know that when I was looking online, The God of Highschool was blowing up over all social media platforms. I was even on Reddit, and people were talking about how they crashed Crunchyroll's servers. Like, no one could watch The God of Highschool because the servers were too saturated with people trying to flood and watch it. So we're going to break it down. We're going to use some criteria that we talked about pre-show in order to evaluate The God of Highschool and give you guys our thoughts on how well it did as a first episode introducing us to the series.
With that, let's go ahead and lay out the 5 things that we're using to kind of break down our opinions on how good really we thought the first episode of God of Highschool was. We're going to talk about how they were able to introduce the setting, introduce the main cast, introduce some sort of conflict, animation quality, and if there was a hook or cliffhanger that said, hey, I really can't wait for episode 2. That's what we think are really going to be the criteria that makes up whether or not The God of Highschool episode 1 was really good. Let's just go ahead and jump in there. Jonah, what did you think about episode 1 of The God of Highschool?
So I loved episode 1, and this is embarrassing to say, but I watched it like 3 times. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I thought it was very, very well put together as far as the first episode goes. It had a little bit of everything, you know. It had, first of all, the first thing that stands out is the animation quality, and we talked about that in our summer 2020 anime that we're excited for, about how with this anime being very focused on fights, that the animation quality was going to be really good because that's how you make fight scenes look good. You invest a lot in your animation quality. I thought it had fantastic animation. I thought the character designs were cool, minus a couple weird stylistic choices, I guess.
Yeah.
And I thought that there was very well-timed, great humor. The main cast seems really cool. And the world seems pretty cool as a whole. So I loved it. I know that you were a little bit less high on it than me, but yeah, I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought it was bad. No. I will admit that this was a good first episode, and it really wants me wanting more. Obviously, I can't wait for when episode 2 comes out to see where this story progresses. And I think that's, for me, what got me hooked was the animation quality. I love animation as a whole. Animation quality for me sits really high. That and of course a storyline. But the animation quality that I saw from start to finish, I think was pristine. I think that they have really put out in front of them, okay, just like they kind of did with the webtoon Tower of God. This is our second webtoon adaptation that we're going to do. Let's try and push it forward and make sure that we have the best animation possible so that it will really feed and bring in those webtoon fans into Crunchyroll. I really think that's what they were really pushing here with the animation quality, and I'll give it 2 thumbs up. I think the animation quality was fantastic, and especially when it got to the fight scenes. I was a little hesitant when it first came out, and they were like, the first round of the Seoul prelims was going to be a battle royale, kind of like everybody fends for themselves. I was a little hesitant because I was like, are they just going to do like a widescreen shot where, there's some of those anime where it seems like all they did was run the same animation over and over with like a group of people fighting each other. No, I was actually really impressed though how they kind of broke it down like pane by pane. They floated around around with the camera angles and let you see one person fight, and then they'd float over to another person getting ready to fight. I really thought that was cool, especially because then you were able to see thin line animation come out at its best with those fight scenes.
Yeah, and on that as well, I think that the way that they went about it allowed you to see characters that are most likely going to be relevant going forward. When you have a battle royale as the very first fight scene in your anime,
yes,
I mean, it's a given that there's going to be a lot of quote unquote like fodder characters that aren't going to be very relevant in the future.
Yeah.
So the way that they went through, and you would go from one character fighting some of these fodder characters to another, and then to another, it lets you see, some of the people that are most likely going to have implications in the story going on, And so I thought that was a really clever way of making the fight scene very fast-paced and fun.
Yes.
But also giving you a brief glimpse of who you need to be looking out for as the story progresses.
Yeah, and it almost gives you an opportunity to go ahead and pick out your favorite character. Sometimes what I think anime can do is they'll throw too many characters on you at once, and you kind of forget their names, and then they'll try and... this is one of the things that I've had with One Piece, and I'm not saying One Piece is bad. I've just always said...
not.
No. I'm not going to say One Piece is bad. I'll never say One Piece is bad. I enjoy One Piece. The one thing that's always been for me, though, is I know the world is so expansive. After a while, I kind of just forget about characters because there are just so many of them that have been thrown on you at once. I think this kind of plays into, one of our 5 things that make the great first episode we talked about was I think they did a good job introducing what is going to be possibly the main cast. With the main character, Jin, and then they introduced you at some point, and Han, and like you said, with them being able to show all of the little fight scenes up close and personal with the Battle Royale aspect of it. We don't know their names, but I feel like how you said, they're going to play a role in this story at some point as well. And I want to know some of their names. I want to know about these characters. And I think that's also going to keep me coming as well back for whenever they come out with the next episodes week by week. I think another thing as well, I think they did a good job. I mean, you agreed on this. I think they did a good job introducing a conflict, especially with it being out of the gate. I feel bad for the homeboys chilling on the beach. I thought I was going to see more of them. They seemed like gangsters. I thought they were Yeah, they were just chilling, getting massages and drinking drinks, and I was like, these guys are gangster. I can't wait to see more of them. And then boom, and no more. Gone. But I really liked that beginning. That's how the episode started, and after they blew that island up, oh wow. I was like, okay, well, I need to know why.
I think for me, what I really enjoyed about the way that they structured it, with that being the first scene that you see, is it introduces this element of mystery or controversy around the God of High School tournament. If they didn't have that scene and you just had the rest of the episode, you'd be left kind of wondering, like, is that really all this story is? Like, it's just like a fighting tournament, And like, on the one hand, like it would still, I'd probably still watch it, right? Because there's probably some really cool fight scenes and cool characters and whatever. But it wouldn't have the depth of story that I really seek when I'm looking for an anime that I'm going to be passionate about, And so by having that first scene where you have the guys on the island, they're talking to the prime minister, and then all of a sudden they just get stamped out, erased by some kind of supernatural power. You have no idea what it is. It introduces an element of mystery, and then you also have this underlying plot point that you are left wondering, how is this going to have implications in the tournament itself? Where is this going to influence the main cast?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely going to have some sort of play over the tournament as well. It's not just your average fighting tournament. And what really gave that away is, obviously at the beginning of the episode, they kind of gave you a look at the man who was on the phone. I'm not talking about the guys on the beach, but we're assuming it's a prime minister of some sort. He's obviously a man. Yeah, he's obviously a man of power, and the fact that there were these overseers at the prelims in the Seoul fighting tournament for the God of High School, the prelims. There were those overlookers in suits, and one of them answered the phone, and it was the man of power essentially telling them, okay, release him. And that's when they obviously introduced another conflict in episode 1, which was the prisoner that they let loose to fight everybody. But that just shows you that he, behind the scenes, has got some sort of ploy. He's got some sort of plot. I think that's what we talked about that one time when we were talking about what makes a great villain. I'm not going to necessarily label him a villain already, but it was like it's the plan behind the scenes, the master plan that he doesn't want everybody to know about. And I feel like they did a good job kind of implementing at that, hinting at that. They didn't give it all away. But that's one of the things where me and you can go to another thing that we listed making the great first episode was the hook and the cliffhanger. I feel like that's part of it. That's kind of like the behind the scenes hook. Besides, obviously, it's going to be a damn show about fighting, which is going to be sick.
Yeah. I think it really has to play into the hook and cliffhanger, like you said, but also the setting. You know, I think that the God of High School did a really good job setting up its world, not giving you too much to where you're going to be bored with the rest of the world building, but giving you just enough where you know what is going on from a general perspective, but you don't know all of the factors at play, you know? And I think that contributes into the hook and the cliffhanger, right? I mean, the things that caught my eye that I feel like are going to come back and play a role is, one, I mean, the God of High School tournament, they're promising that any wish that you have will come true if you win, right? If they are really going to be capable of making that come true, there has to be some kind of supernatural element involved in their scheme, right? It can't just be like, we're gonna use money to give you whatever, right? I mean, that would be very just bland as like a plot point, you know? And then on top of that, what makes me think that that there is supernatural elements involved is there's this one scene at the beginning where the Prime Minister, Park Moon-jin, he, like, I think it's after he wipes out the guys on the beach, it goes to him like in his office, and he's standing in front of this like big mural thing.
Yes, that mural. You know what I'm talking about? That mural was sick. We can see in the video if we can get a screenshot and put it in here for those of you that don't see. That mural is dope. I think it's got a lot of ancient aspects to it.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like with the supernatural. Like it seems like that mural is depicting some kind of, like you said, ancient or supernatural power that clearly the Prime Minister is interested in, or he's directly involved in. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so my assumption is that through those means, that's what's giving him the ability to say that he can grant whatever wish someone would want, you know? And those are the aspects that of the setting that I think are interesting, and they play into the cliffhanger, like you said. Like I'm left with a lot of questions. I'm left with, who is this Prime Minister? You know? What is that mural? What is its significance? How did he erase an entire island in the blink of an eye, you know? And so it leaves you wondering more, and it leaves you wondering more on a bigger plane than just wanting to see more fight scenes. You know, clearly that plays a role, but you want to see the story drive the fight scenes and not the fight scenes drive the story.
I agree with that. I think also a part of the settings, I liked the fact that they really hit home that these were prelims being held in Korea. So to me, that to me says, okay, so there's an opportunity for a larger character pool to be pulled to us, because it seems like they're having prelims all around the world. and that eventually they're going to come together at some centralized location. So it's not, the setting is going to be, we might be traveling to different countries. We might be seeing different characters from different countries. I really like that as well. And then if you take it a little bit deeper, like how I want to take it deeper, we obviously believe that the Prime Minister has something up his sleeve behind the God of High School fighting tournament. Well, does that mean he's not the only one? Maybe there are other prime ministers who, maybe this is all just one big world organization ploy underneath.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you could go so deep into it. But I liked that part of introduce the setting. We realize right now that these are just prelims in Korea. But maybe we have the opportunity of going somewhere else. I liked that a lot. I think that what they really hit home the best was introduce the conflict, the animation quality, and the hook and cliffhanger. I think they hit those tremendously. I think the setting is still being built. Obviously, we'll probably see more of that in the next episode. And the main cast, I think the character designs are cool. But introducing the main cast, we can kind of figure out who are going to be the main characters, and we know that Jin is the main character. But I'm not going to rate that as high because I need to know more. Like, I want to obviously get backstory, so I'll give them more episodes to fill that out.
Yeah, I think that you're definitely right. There definitely is a lot left to be fleshed out as far as the main cast goes. You know, it's like for Han Daiwi, you know, the guy who worked at the supermarket.
Yes.
It's like, why is a guy that powerful just working at a supermarket? 1. 2, what does he need the money for? Because it has a scene of him in the alleyway. He's like, dang, I need to pick up some more shifts, you know? So clearly he has some kind of goal with wanting to gain money, and that's probably his motive for entering the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know so much what Yu Mira's whole deal is, but I'm sure we'll figure out.
Right.
But with Jin Mori, the one thing that intrigued me about him is the scene that it shows you with his dream, you know, with his grandpa.
Yes.
Or what I think he refers to him as his grandpa.
Yes, he does, and that would have been mine as well for Jin. Yes. Right,
and that grandpa was giving me some serious Jiraiya vibes. I don't know about you, but he seemed like it just. I mean, I think it was probably just the character design, like with like the long gray hair, you know.
Yeah.
But it was giving me some serious Jiraiya vibes, but. You're left wondering, like, why did he leave? Where did he go? Is he still alive? Like, clearly he was important to Jin, you know? So there is a lot to be explained as far as the main cast goes, but I like that. You know, I wouldn't want to know everything about a character in the first episode. I think that just about wraps it up. For the end of this, though, me and Hunter are both going to give you a rating for the first episode, 1 to 10. You know, do it out of 10.
Yes.
So for me, I thought this episode was fantastic. I thought it hit all of the things that I want a first episode to hit. The main cast seems interesting. Character designs seem cool. There was some hilarious scenes in it, and I like humor in anime, especially when it's well timed. I think that the conflict was really interesting and left me wanting more. The animation quality is pristine. Shout out to MAPPA, the studio that's adapting this, because they've done a phenomenal job, and I hope that they continue with that throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah.
And then the cliffhanger was fantastic as well. So I think if I had to give it a 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
It wasn't perfect, but I would still, it was pretty close to hitting everything that I would want a first episode to hit.
Yeah, for me, obviously we had the 5 criteria we were keeping with, and it hit 3 out of those 5 for me really, like, superbly, and the other 2, they're not bad. They did a good job. I'm just wanting more, and of course that's the setting and the main cast, which they'll flesh out more as the more we go forward. That's inevitable. But just for this first episode alone, I might not go as high as you, but I'll give it an 8. I will give it a solid 8 out of 10, and that's just because I want more. I want more. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I wasn't you who watched it 3 times after seeing it the first time. Now, I will go back and probably watch it again just to see if there was anything that we might have missed, but my rating is still an 8 out of 10 for the first episode of God of High School.
Honestly, 8 out of 10 though is pretty solid. If you got 8 out of 10 and 9.5 out of 10, that means we're averaging out at an 8.75 out of 10. So clearly a very, very high quality episode. So that's our opinion. You've heard it from us. If you haven't checked out the God of High School first episode, do that ASAP. It's only 20 minutes long, and it's a very entertaining 20 minutes, so you won't regret it. The first episode reviews are pretty fun though. So if you guys, I think, Hunter, I don't know what you think, but it'd be cool to do these again in the future, for different anime series that me and you haven't seen yet, maybe.
Yes, I think so. I agree.
So yeah, like if you guys have first episodes that you want us to review, leave them in the comments. Let us know which anime that you think that we should review next, and we'll try to bring that to you in the future.
And with that, we are going to get up out of here. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Do not forget to like the video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe if you can't wait for future content. Also, as well, please get in the comments and go ahead and leave your questions for this upcoming week's content creator Q&A with Jonah. I know Jonah is looking forward to being able to answer your questions on our Instagram. So if you don't follow us there, go ahead and follow us on Instagram as well. And with that, we will see you next time, Anime Society.
Peace!